Hello, my friends. So you've seen the problem that I have with this printer, and I'm going to offer you a solution. And the solution is really simple, but we'll get to that here shortly. I'm going to demonstrate how to fix this Canon Selphy CP740. If you find one of these secondhand, or perhaps you own one brand new, maybe you were sent here by a friend, family member, maybe your wife or grandmother sent you here saying, hey, you're pretty handy with this kind of stuff. You fix it. Well, it's a really simple fix, and you'll become a hero after I show you how easy this thing is to fix, and you'll get it working again. Let me show you a little bit about this technology before we get into the fix for it. And so this is what's known as a dye sublimation printer. It's a really cool process. It uses a ribbon, and on this ribbon are 4 panels of color, and 3 to 4 panels of color. And what it does is it runs it underneath a heating element, and this heating element lays the proper amount of color, one layer at a time, onto the printer. And I'll demonstrate that actual process once we fix the printer, and I can show you that. But look at the results you get with this printer. I mean, it's simply amazing. I mean, can you believe this is a photograph? Look at the detail, look at the great color and the contrast. It's very impressive. So these are just some examples that I printed out before this one began to exhibit the problem that we're going to fix. Here's one more for you. Really great. These are actually postcards, so you could actually print out a message in glossy style on one of these and put it in the mail and send it to a friend. Okay. Maybe you're traveling overseas and you want to send somebody a special message showing them the Caribbean or where you happen to be. This printer would be excellent to take with you. Which tools are you going to need to fix your Selphy CP740 printer? These tools are probably laying around your house. The first tool you're going to need is a standard Phillips screwdriver, standard Phillips head. The next one you may or may not have, but if you're a hobbyist, you probably will have this jeweler's screwdriver. Again, a smaller tip, and it is going to have the ability to get down into a very narrow section of the printer to unscrew some smaller Phillips screws. Now, optionally, you can get a pair of tweezers to get to the place that we're going to need to get to. And a way to reward yourself after you do this is I recommend a back scratcher. I happen to have this telescoping back scratcher here, and after I get done making this video, I am going to scratch my back with this. In fact, if you want to, you can just grab the other end of your phone or television, lay it against your back, and I will scratch it for you. Okay? Let's begin with the repair process. The problem with this printer has nothing to do with ink or the lack thereof, or even a sensor for the ink. It actually has to do with this. This is a tiny little gear that has either gotten out of place, has moved away from the other gear that it's supposed to be turning, or has completely fallen off. And that was my case with this little gear. It had completely fallen off. So this is what we're going to investigate. Let's start by removing the 3 larger screws, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to use our jeweler's screwdriver to remove these 4 on the outside. Now, these technically aren't required to be removed, but if you just want to completely dismantle the whole thing and see what it looks like inside, go ahead and take these 3 off as well. Otherwise, just remove these 4 on the outside. So let's go ahead and start with the larger ones. They're very short, easy to remove. Quick removal. Plus, it's kind of fun to see the whole thing taken apart. See what makes it tick on the inside. All right, so again, you got to get down to these narrow passages, these narrow tunnels to get these smaller screws out. 4 of those. I must have forgot to put that one back in when I was rehearsing. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Got it. All right. All right, so just flip it over, holding it together, and get those 4 screws to fall out of there. So flip it back over, and then we're going to lift the top off. And when you do, this part here is just going to kind of fall off of there, this little door. Set that aside. And then on the inside are some ribbon cables. So we need to disconnect these ribbon cables before we can do our operation. Okay, so this one here has a black bar going across the top. Just go ahead and push down on the two edges of that black bar and then push the cable and it will pop out. And then this is the USB connector for the external USB cable, and we're just going to go ahead and pop that out like that. Your top is now completely disconnected. Now the next part is very, very simple, and you may figure out that there are steps that are not needed here, but I'm going to show you all of them. One of which is the ribbon cable is still inside. So let's go ahead and take that out. And the way that happens is this little switch here on the side, this little release switch, and your ribbon cable should just slide right out. Okay, and then there is a fan, a cooling fan that's connected here. We'll go ahead and disconnect that cooling fan, as you see there. I believe we just turn it upside down and then lift up on it, everything comes out like that. All right, so the other thing I did not mention that you might decide you want to do to ensure that this does not happen again is have some super glue handy to put on this gear. Okay, so where does our little gear go? Where did it come from? Our little gear came from right here. You see this motor? The little gear goes right there. And without the ability to pull the ribbon back and forth, the machine thinks that all of it is empty. Here's where the tweezers come in handy. Put the gear in between the tweezers, and we're going to go down into that spot there with the tweezers, and we're going to push that gear back on there. In fact, let's do it this way. So let's put the gear in between the tweezers like this. Put it down in front of the little motor shaft, and then have your screwdriver handy, and then just kind of push it off onto the little gear thingy right there. And there you go. So sometimes it may not be that the gear has fallen off. If it's fallen off, it's going to be inside this case that you just took apart. But at other occasions, the gear hasn't fallen off completely, but it's in a kind of a in-between state. So like the gear is like that. And in that case, all you need to do is push the gear back into place. And that is the fix for this issue. Now, if you'd like to stay tuned, let's go ahead and put this back together and demonstrate how it works. And then I got a surprise for you. I'm going to show you a record player that plays cookies. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Should you decide to do the super glue option, to put super glue on there to hold it back together, here's what I'd recommend you do. Take your standard super glue and go ahead and put a little bit onto a toothpick. All right, so that way you don't just saturate the thing. So just get you a little drop there on the toothpick, and then go ahead and put that little dab onto the shaft there first. And then take your gear, and in the same fashion, and this is going to be fun. Now we can go ahead and reassemble our printer. So go ahead and put the cooling fan back. It goes on the back wall there. Kind of pull that wire out of the way, if it will. Then pick up your printer chassis, and then let's place it back inside of there. Plug in your cooling fan. Close up the side. Okay, and remember we've got our ribbon cable, and we have our USB cable to reconnect. So USB cable goes first. And that USB cable is really cool. It's a retractable USB cable to plug into a compatible camera. And then we're going to go ahead and plug in this ribbon cable. Definitely a two-handed operation. Make sure that little black part, that little bar, is sticking out. And then go ahead and insert the ribbon cable into that slot. And then push your little black bar back into place. Just kind of make sure everything is where it should be. And then go ahead and place your lid back on top and put your screws back in. Let's see if it actually fixed it, right? Be like, the proof is in the pudding. All right, let's make some pudding. Here we go. Go ahead and put our ribbon back in until it snaps into place. Put our paper tray in until it clicks into place there. Turn it on. Insert our memory card. And I'll turn it so the screen doesn't look so funky. There we go. And let's kind of move it down a little bit. See what's going on. Some of my images don't show on the screen here. It shows a question mark, but it will actually print those. So let's go ahead and print the one we saw earlier. That's a good sound. So here it goes. It's going to go ahead and print the first layer of color. Move my camera down a little bit so you can see how that's happening. Pulls it back through. So first we got our yellow laid down. Now we're laying down our red. This should be our blue. Or green, perhaps. Oh, look at that. It's turning into a nice, beautiful picture. And from what I read, the last layer is a protection layer that it puts over the top to protect all of those ink layers from harmful UV rays. So what a difference in comparison to that ancient Polaroid printer that I made a video of recently. So much nicer, so much prettier. Of course, the film that I used on that Polaroid was expired, and in this case, it doesn't expire. So that's a really cool feature of this Selphy. As a bonus for all your hard work repairing your dye sublimation printer, I'm going to reward you with an Oreo cookie. Well, I'm going to reward you with music from an Oreo cookie. So apparently the Oreo cookie company, I believe that's Nabisco, discovered that their cookies contain music. And as a result, they had to invent a machine that would play back the music that is hidden within the ingredients of these cookies that you see here. So let me demonstrate this machine that was built in order to bring the music out of the cookie. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the Oreo Music Box. Looks like it's sitting in an ordinary box, right? It actually is kind of made out of cardboard. but it has this special DNA reading arm that goes across and actually pulls the molecular structure out of the cookie, examines it for its musical structure, and then plays it back through this tiny speaker right here. An interesting feature of the unit allows you to make your own recordings, which are then translated into new molecular structure and embedded into the cookie for playback later. Just to show you the authenticity of the workmanship of this product, if I take the tone arm and move it over and there's no cookie there, obviously it cannot create any music. There must be a cookie present in order for it to play the music. So let's go ahead and place a cookie onto the turntable, and let's examine its musical playback. Here we go. Now we examine what would happen if you change the molecular structure of the cookie by eating some of it. Will that change the playback? Let's see. Now you may be wondering, will it play other brands of cookies? In our laboratory testing, we discovered that it does play other cookies. We also discovered that it will play Burt's Bees Lemon Butter Cuticle Cream. I'll go ahead and place that onto the turntable, and let's listen to what it will play. And this will conclude our video today about the repair of the Selphy CP740 compact photo printer, as well as a demo of the Oreo Music Box cookie player. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. Also, share this video with a friend. There may be someone out there who could really benefit from what this video has in it. Also, if you don't mind, follow me on Facebook at the address you see on your screen. And please leave a comment below and ask any questions you might have there in the comment section of this video. So, thank you guys for being here. We will see you next time and look forward to showing you some more cool vintage electronics.